Hello, this is a review of the Caran Varius Metwood with a medium nib, and the barrel is actually, the wood is actually rosewood, but they say the model is Metwood. Now let's get into the pen itself. I don't have the box and presentation because I bought a secondhand. This is a 6-faceted, slim, and small pen, and on the finial on the side it says Caran, and this has one of the older Caran logos. And the clip is pretty stiff, but it's very practical, similar to the Ecuador. It's a 6-faceted pen, as you can see. It looks very neat. And let's get into the nib and nib section. As you can see, the nib is the 18 karat medium gold nib with rhodium trim. The nib section is very slim. As you can see, the drop down is, there's a little bit of drop down. And this is a relatively slim pen. And this is a relatively small pen too, as you can see. Now in terms of the nib section, it can be uncomfortable if you do not like slim pens, because the pen barrel itself is slim to begin with. Then you have the nib section that is almost 2/3 of the barrel, which makes it very slim. And when you can post it, it's very secure, but it becomes very back heavy because it's a fully metal cap. But you can post it if you really wish, and it doesn't damage the wood at all since it stocks on the finial itself. It's a screw-on pen, so unlike the Ecuador, it's just similar model, but it's a click-on. Let's give an idea of how this pen measures up. Since this is one of the Caran flagship pens, since this costs nearly $1,000 if you buy retail, even not wood finishes these days. We have the Caran Varius alongside Graphite Faber-Castell Classic, which is also a wood pen. Then we have the Caran Ecuador. As you can see, Ecuador is a little bit longer, but it's a steel pen. The nib is steel as well. Then we have the Caran 849, which is even longer than both of them, and it's also a steel pen. As you can see from left to right, it gets more expensive. And we have Lamy Safari to begin with, which is not a big pen to begin with. And as you can see, the Varius is very small. We have the Montblanc 146 to give an idea how the pen is. As you can see, 146 is a relatively regular sized pen. The Varius is very small and slim in comparison to them. In terms of the nib, the Varius has a small nib. It actually has a smaller nib than the Safari, just a little bit smaller, which might be a problem for some people. For a pen at this price, you would expect to be a little bit bigger nib, but that's not the case. This is in comparison to the Ecuador and 849. They're both, Ecuador and 849 are both steel nibs, whereas the Varius is an 18 karat gold nib. In terms of when they're uncapped, as you can see, the Varius is actually longer than both of them, even though the other two are longer than the Varius when they're capped. Now in comparison to the 146, as you can see, the 146 is actually, in terms of the body itself, is shorter than the Varius, but the nib section and the nib is bigger and thicker than the Varius. The Varius is a cartridge converter pen, which you have to unscrew, which at this price point, some people might say it should be better mechanism, but I don't have a problem with that. And it's easy to clean, it's easy to maintain because it's a cartridge converter, and it's a regular cartridge converter. It's not going to take up more ink than other ones. In terms of writing, this is a gold nib compared to the Ecuador 849, which is a steel nib. So this is very smooth. This has some softness, but it's not really soft. It is a hard nib, and this nib has barely any feedback. This is one of the best nibs I've tried. This medium nib just writes so smoothly. Probably one of the smoothest nibs that I have in my collection, alongside my another Caran Le Mans medium nib, which is also very smooth. I don't know about what it is about Caran d'Ache nibs, but they're just so smooth, and I'm pretty sure they're Bach nibs, but they don't feel like Bach nibs. They feel super smooth, they feel really tuned. I think they hand tune and hand polish all of their nibs before they send it out, which is why every nib that I had from Caran d'Ache is perfect out of the box, which I really enjoy about it. There's barely any feedback, as I mentioned, and in terms of reverse writing, it's actually not that bad. There's some scratchiness, but you would expect that of reverse writing, and there isn't any line variation. This is a hard nib, and which is the case with most, if not all, Caran d'Ache nibs where they don't have any line variation, which makes sense. In terms of wetness, this is on the wet side. This is definitely a wet pen, and which I really like, especially a medium nib. This is a side view for people that enjoy that. As you can see, I don't hold the pen at the nib section because it's very slim, and it's actually too slim for my taste. So I hold it on the facets just like how I hold the Ecuador. But if you do not like holding it this way, then I suggest you don't get this pen, because this pen can be a problem if you do not like the nib section. The nib section is very thin. Now let's get into the pros and cons of this pen. The number one pro is the nib. The nib is just a joy to write with. It's very smooth, reliable. There's no complaints there. I just love this nib. This 18 karat gold nib is just one of the best nibs that I have in my collection, and just a joy to write with. Another pro is the Rosewood body. As I mentioned, this is called a Metwood in terms of the name of the model, but the barrel, the wood itself, is Rosewood. It looks very nice, and it just looks high quality, which I enjoy from this pen. Next, we have the cons of this pen. The biggest con for this pen is the nib section. It's very slim, as you can see, and it's a metal nib section, so it's pretty slippery. And I hold by the facets for the reasons I mentioned. So if you do not like some nib sections, then stay away from this pen. But if you like to hold pens a little bit up, like by the facets, then this can be a good pen for you. Another con for this is the non-aligned facets, which is a minor inconvenience, but at this price, which is nearly $1,000, this should not happen. The facets should align out perfectly, and since this is a screw-on pen, there should be no problem with the facets aligning. I can understand with the Ecuador, which have snap-on pen mechanism, so that makes sense. But in this case, there should be no reason why the facets don't align. And lastly, the con that most people will listen to is the price. The modern versions cost upwards of $950. For a pen like this, with a small nib, with a nib section like that, this is very overpriced. There's no other explanation. This is simply overpriced pen, and this is supposed to be in second line to their flagship Le Mans, so this is technically another flagship pen. But in my opinion, the Le Mans is way better because it has a better nib section, has just better ergonomics, it's a little bit bigger, thicker, and a bigger nib, and it comes out at the same price, if not cheaper in most cases. So this pen is super overpriced, but if you like the design and small pens, if you have small hands, it's gonna be a good deal for you. But I would recommend going secondhand and not buying this firsthand, because it can be super expensive even with discounts. I bought this pen secondhand for about $270 after shipping and taxes, which is still very expensive, but for a gold nib 18 karat and with their flagship with this wood finish, I think it was worth it at $270. But at $950, this is not worth it, not at all. So you make the decision. If you have the money, then go for it, but at $950 I would not pay for retail. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.